Give me,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
What up, everybody? See what?
H-Town. You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. It's the Midday Sports Happy Hour, the Chop Shop, the nation's number one. I said it, number one urban sports talk show coming from the dirty down south. We got my main man, Robert Hatter, affectionately known, I don't know if he's still known because he's trying to shed it, as Cornell's favorite dad, because your boy Robert Smith did something else that I know you know about. And we got my man, the Hatter. I don't know what he's going to have on today. I hope his internet working. I got to take my hat off. He got the same color hat I got on. For clout, I'm going to take my hat off. I can't be looking like him. I don't want us to get confused when I put my smart takes. And Jimmy, I'm about to slap him, Hatter. Look at the shirt. Who sent him that shirt? Because anytime Jimmy's doing any type of advertising, it's got to be free or he getting a check. And if he getting a check, we not going to let him Alan Branch us. We're not going to let him Alan Branch Hatter, we not going to let him Alan Branch us. So we need to make sure. So, Hatter, what you got for us today, baby?
Hey, first of all, let me get something out the way. I don't know because I blacked out yesterday. I had a meeting I had to go to, and I don't know whether or not y'all shouted out our starting five yesterday. Did you?
Did not.
Okay, so let me give you those people yesterday because it's right here on my desk when I get back. I got back to my office. Sandra Hicks, Kevin Freeman, Todd Holmes, Melvin Dews, and Corey Willis. Those were yesterday's starting five. And y'all know I'm not going to forget about y'all. But today is Women Rock Wednesday. Jimmy, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some in it.
Jimmy, boy, you need to stop.
Jimmy, I'm going to tell you I got a couple of Women Rock Wednesdays candidates. But Jimmy, first of all, let's shout out to the Alpha Kappa Alpha, the AKAs. Thank you, Jimmy, for that information. They raised $1 million for HBCUs for the second year in a row. And
wow.
TSU is one of the HBUs that will receive an endowment from the AKAs. We want to thank all of those young ladies, all of those who contribute to the campaign. Let's continue to support our HBCU. So,
hey, Jimmy, hold on, Hatter. Jimmy,
okay.
Your mama was a red, wasn't she, Jimmy? What we doing here, Jimmy? Was your mama red? Wasn't your mama red?
Hey, guess what? You got to connect dots. When Hatter go, I understand.
I knew it had to be something.
Understand who's stirring this pot? Who making this porridge? It's the pink and green making this porridge at home. That's what happens. Look what color shirt he has on.
Listen,
she got him dressed like one.
Hatter, because I'm an Omega, and your mom was a red. Rest in peace. And somebody had talking about AKAs, and I thought AKA meant all kinds of action. That's what I thought.
But Chris, I got another. Hey, Chris, Jimmy, this for you and Trey Phillips. I hope Trey Phillips is on the line. Because this for Trey Phillips. I went and watched a little workout yesterday, just in the gym, minding my business, and all of a sudden I saw this young lady, little young girl. I just watched the way she moving around the court. I mean, soon as I walked in, I noticed her. And then, I said, wait a minute, what school you go to? She told me. Then I said, Brian, Jimmy, then it got to go to the drill. She got to go in to the boys. It was tearing the boys a new one. But I like to shout out to my Women Rock Wednesday candidate today, Jimmy, Kendall Hunter from Side Creek. Oh my goodness, Chris Walker. Unbelievable. I can't wait. 2021. I don't like women's basketball. I told her I'm coming to watch her play. Hey, she my new niece.
Got game.
Kendall Hunter got game. Chris Walker got game.
Okay.
But that's enough. Unbelievable, Jimmy. I don't know if you know her or not, but she is one of the top young players in the country. Her and her teammate. I don't know the teammate's name. She wasn't there yesterday, but this young girl is unbelievable. And then one more Women Rocks thing, because I know with Chris Walker and Walter Yates on the show already.
Oh my
they
God.
will try to damage Women Rock Wednesday, but superstar Serena Williams.
Oh my goodness.
Hold up. Appeared in the Bahamas, Jimmy, other day, to make her contribution to Hurricane Dorian victims.
That's good.
She showed up to make a contribution to the New Providence Community Church, where many of the Hurricane Dorian victims are being housed. So yes, Chris, before you run your mouth, let me get.
Well, you know, I know you got to watch them preach. You got to watch them Bohemian preachers now. They just like them brothers over here. You got to watch them preachers.
What Chris?
And then she right there. Did they do a little collection plate or they do it in cash so the IRS can track it? Which way we get them?
When you give the gift, you give.
You gotta let it go.
To God. You give the gift up to God. Whatever they do with it is on them. When you don't give the gift out of Chris Walker.
I just asked the question.
No,
I just asked the question with your pink shirt on. I just asked the question. So you represent the AKAs today. You represent the AKAs today.
Jimmy, look here, Jimmy. I just mentioned Kendall a minute ago. Kendall already got a nickname. It's called Ken Skills.
Oh my God.
Ken Skills. But that's all. You know, I had a couple more things, but I just wanted to share those things with you. You know, to kick Women Rock Wednesday off the day, talking about the women. So what you got, Jimmy? What you got?
Man, we got so much to talk about. And of course, on the back nine, just tune into the Chop Shop. We are going to share with you guys. We're going to break the schedule for the Super 16 Extravaganza on the back nine. That's the annual Greater Houston Fall High School Championships. And but first, I want to give a shout out to Stacy Houston and Charles Campbell. They made a debut of their podcast out of the DFW area last night, and Glenn Smith was their first guest. Who is Glenn Smith? He's a young man that is the founder of the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest, which takes place Thanksgiving weekend at Duncanville High School. And on yesterday, Glenn released the field of teams that would be participating in that particular event on the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving. And so a lot of the teams are from all over the country. I have time to note all of them, but some of the marquee out-of-state teams include Montverde, who's a perennial powerhouse nationwide, national champions for a couple of years, winners of the Dick's Sporting Goods National Championships, that is, and also Sierra Canyon out of California. And that school is the new institution of the new program that Dwayne Wade and LeBron James' sons both attend. However, the most notable player and the best player on that team recently transferred from the Atlanta, Georgia area. And that team is a powerhouse. Of course, Glenn from the greater Houston area will be represented by Hightower and Jack Yates High School. And during the show last night, the host and the guest, or the host that is primarily, took out the opportunity to name Robert Hatter in one particular matchup, the only matchup which was released last night, and that would be Hightower High School, which features Bryce Griggs, will be going up against the school from Dallas that hosts the young man Keontae George. And this is these two. Now, one thing they did acknowledge that these two young men are at the top. They're the top of the class. So as it stands. And so Glenn mentioned that one of the reasons that he's putting this matchup together is because That way it can give an opportunity for one to establish himself as the alpha male in this class of 2022. As it stands, Mr. George is currently ranked in the ESPN national rankings, while Mr. Griggs is not, as it stands.
Really?
So it's not.
Whoa. Bryce Griggs is not ranked?
Not in no.
So you're talking about a kid who was ranked number 1 as an 8th grader. He played in the summer. That was his first summer playing, or actually his second summer playing on the circuit, because I saw him play 2 years ago. So he didn't play well on the circuit because no one saw him play at Hightower. So nobody came down to see that.
When you say
nobody of note came down here. You might have seen it, but no national. Yeah, no one seen it.
The national guys.
No way. So what you're saying is playing 16s for Team Harden, no one gave him love for that. Is that what you're telling? Because him not being ranked, wow, that's interesting. I think it's interesting. For maybe somebody don't like Hatter, but I think that's very interesting. You don't think that's interesting, Jimmy?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about it that is knowing how rankings go, and a lot of the national things is just about being on the right side in the right uniform and being able to take advantage of opportunity, have momentum that goes up under it, and you have to seize that momentum as riding a tide, riding a wave on a surfboard. All eggs don't hatch on the same day. And this is the thing that, understand something, I really believe, you see, today's culture, a lot of people use the rankings as motivation. And you hear it over, you see it over, and you hear the stories, and you look at the NBA, and you see guys all over. There are more guys in the NBA that were not McDonald's All-Americans than there are who were McDonald's All-Americans. So this should serve, if nothing else, as motivation for Bryce Griggs.
He's got 2 more years of high school too, so I mean, it's not.
2 more years of high school.
Yeah, he got 2 summers. I should have said.
And 2 summers left, which is more important. Right. So both of the young men. So what happens? Understand, there were young players. Put it like this: there were players who were in the same class, at least 3 that I know of, who were ranked in the ESPN national list prior to this recent list that was released a few weeks ago. And they're not ranked at all. Let me tell you something. If you were ranked and they drop you out, it's going to take a hell of a lot to get you back onto a list once you've been dropped out of it. Because
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Let me explain to you why. Let me explain to you why, Chris. Let me explain to you why. For me to drop you all the way off my list and to put you back on it without you making a significant jump in productivity will mean that I'm admitting I messed up.
I've heard you say that before.
People that does rankings, we're the most egotistical jokers that you ever meet in the world. We're not going to let you know that we messed up just like that. That's just how it is.
You guys are you're going to be prehistoric dinosaurs soon. And all I'm saying is, right now, y'all rule the roost. Analytics is going to get rid of scouting size, but the scouting service soon. And Jimmy, here's the thing. Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. Let me ask a question. Before you go. This is a top what? 100 or top what? Because that's why I'm confused.
It's like a top 25 or top 50.
So the top 25, that means he's probably in the top 50s then. So if it was top 100, I see that. Because I've had kids.
Have him in the top 50 in Rivals. They don't even have him in the top 50.
Rivals don't count no more. The Rivals lost their pop.
No, Chris. No. See, here's the thing. What I'm going to explain. Certain people, if Rivals ever counted at any point in time, which Eric Bossi, he does a pretty good job of staying in the gyms. And Eric Bossi, so guess what? If he counted yesterday, and you don't like the rank that he give another guy, he don't disconnect him and say he don't count today. And
I'm just saying. I've sat with these guys, and I've sat with the Van Colemans, the Clark Francis, the Jimmy Hicks, the Alan Branches, the Eric Bossis, the Evan Dames. I can go on and on and on. Frank Burleson, all those different guys. And you know what you guys are? You're freaking biased. That's what you are. Yeah. You're freaking biased. Yeah. Period.
To everybody, and you take number one.
And on top of that, what y'all do is, if you guys have the same rankings over and over again, guess what people aren't doing, Jimmy? They aren't paying attention to y'all. So it makes sense for y'all to move the kids around so people can be on their toes about where am I ranked the next week. Because no one's going to look at your rankings if you got the same guys every time. Jimmy, you got a delay, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
You got a delay, Jimmy. Because you're talking and it's not coming out. We lost him.
No,
Jimmy, you there? Yeah, we got a delay, Jimmy. Say what you said again, Jimmy. We lost you.
Okay, is it still there now?
Now you're good now. We're good now.
Okay, good.
Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Because we didn't hear you responding.
Okay. What the last thing I said is that I mentioned the last thing I said was about rivals. When you mentioned rivals, and you mentioned
Right.
Eric Bossi, and I said, well, if Eric Bossi is one of those guys that has a reputation of when he goes to the events, he sits and he stays in the gym for a significant amount of time. He's going to watch the players that's placed that he needs to see. Now, the thing is, what people don't understand, when a lot of these guys are doing the rankings on the national plane, any plane, well, of the guys who've been doing it for a long time. Well, here's the play. When they come and sit down at that game, they're not going to watch the games that you want them to watch. They're going to watch the game that they put in their schedule for the most primarily. So what happens
like a college coach.
Like a college coach. And so what happens is that's like being on American Idol. That's their one chance to dance for that person that's coming to see him or her play. And this is very serious, guys. So what happens is if that kid or that has a subpar game, know what happens? Guess what? Based on the hype that was placed upon that kid, it's going to determine to whether that guy, what he met or didn't meet expectations. So now we're getting that key word, that hype word. Hype. Well, then guess what? That means if everybody in the world is hyping up a certain kid, first and foremost, when he's under 6 foot tall, as Bryce Griggs were, there's going to be slight and prejudice against this under sub 6 foot kid. Chris Walker, you even know that.
You about to turn Hatter up. Well, I don't like little ball beating guards.
So it's exactly.
All I'm saying is, Jimmy, you talking past tense, because he definitely ain't under 5 foot, 6 foot, nothing now.
No,
you're talking about past
tense. I'm taking it from the beginning. So therefore, the prejudice was already established against him by some, not by everybody. Certain people, as Chris just alluded to, certain people are not fond of midgets. This is how it is. Unless you over the rim and doing something spectacular. So now,
I don't like that at all.
So now understand. So now you move forward. Then people will go and they use different excuses because of the hype. They'll say, "Well, no way this kid can be that good." Then
how tall is
he played again? He's about 6'1" now.
Okay.
And he's legitimate.
I'm 6'1", Jimmy. He's taller than me. But keep going.
We say 6'1" to be safe, Hatter, just to be safe.
I'm 6'1" and 3/4. He taller than me. But keep going.
Is he not? Hey, Jimmy, is he in danger of getting the Griggs jinx? And you know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's going to the different. What's the Griggs jinx, Chris?
Well, they ranked him high coming out of junior high school, and then you know what happened after that.
What do you mean?
By the time he graduated, by the time he graduates, they're saying he's not what they thought he was or projected him coming out of middle school.
So you're speaking about his brother, DJ Griggs,
right?
Who came out
His brother was the number one player too. Brother was a big time middle school player.
His brother was number one in the country from Clark Francis prior to coming into high school. Ended up playing and signing with Long Island where he finished up his career up in New York. And that's what I was hoping. I'm thinking that you're talking.
Yeah, wasn't Bryce number one? I thought Bryce was number one.
At one point in time, Clark Francis did have him at number one in his class. Yes, he did. And Clark Francis is notable for a lot of people. Clark Francis is one of the, well, there's a few of them now, but he's one of the first, probably was the first on the national scale for providing rankings to middle school players. And that's, of course, in that turn, you see how this stuff is turning out because a lot of kids, most of the kids who are ranked number one in the 6th or the 7th grade are 5'5" And then guess what happened? Some kids going to grow, some kids going to get better. But back to this bad Bryce Griggs thing, and give Hatter a chance to I guess to speak on it. Bryce Griggs versus Keontae Jordan from Louisville High School. This will be one of the matchups at the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest. Hatter, this is put up or shut up, no matter how you look at it. So what do you think, if this was other two, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, it's a great matchup. I'm glad Glenn got it done. And now we'll see what happens.
That's it?
Gregory? Yeah. Gregory Hines.
What you want me to sit up here and be a damn fool and hype the thing up like you hype? I'm not a hype guy. I just said exactly what I meant. We'll see when it happens. I'm not a hype guy like y'all. I'm just telling you, Glenn hooked it up. And guess what? We'll see. So what else you want me to say?
So just keep that. Okay. Well, let me fast forward this, Chris. I'm gonna ask you first.
You don't tell me when to keep no same energy.
Keep the same energy.
Y'all keep the same energy. So that talk. I just told you we will see. You can't tell me because as the facts change, the truth change. So you can't tell me
Say, what's the guy named Chris that was on the stand yesterday?
Just because I didn't answer the question like you thought you was going to set up me to do, don't come back with that mess, man. Come on.
How's that a setup?
Come on, man.
Hold on.
I answered the question the
how
way.
How is that a setup?
You the one running your mouth.
Explain to me this. So here's the thing. So you're saying, are you saying that you'll wait to see?
I just said what I said. You heard me?
Hold on. You cut me off. I'm asking the question. I haven't asked the question yet. Hell, you asked the question before I even asked it. I'm asking you, are you saying that you'll wait and see, and if Bryce Griggs puts a whammy on this young man, then you'll speak on it? That's what you're saying?
I don't have to speak on it. I know who Bryce is. I don't have to. If you notice, I don't have to do that, Jimmy. I know who he is. And when the lights come on, you will see. Because guess what? This summer, that none of you guys went to see him play. He was playing all over the country, tearing everybody's behind up. He just played on a minor circuit. So guess what? You guys in the media penalized him for it. So guess what? Now, and let me tell you something. Me, I might not have 16 years of doing this, what you do, but over these last 5 years, I learned to watch people. I learned to watch the guys do they have in control over those things. And when I met those guys and I watched the way these guys move.
Who you talking about, Hatter? Who you talking about, Hatter? Who you talking about?
Anybody out there, the writers.
Oh, the rank. Okay.
The rankers, the Nike people. I watched these guys move these last 2 years more than I've ever watched them move. And guess what? Bryce gonna be all right. That's all I can come on here and say, well, Bryce gonna nah. It's business, Jimmy. Every time he go out now, it's business. Every time y'all evaluate him now, it's business. So guess what? Y'all gonna do business with him, he gonna do business with y'all.
And guess what? The business will be open this weekend because the John Lucas Invitational takes place this weekend. And this will be Bryce Griggs' first appearance against, now you got upperclassmen from all over the country will be in town. And also in town will be about 4 McDonald's All-American voting members, 5 to 6 people on the selection committee for the NBPA Top 100 camp. And plenty of nationally ranked upperclassmen as from the class of 2020, 2021, and 2022. So this weekend in Houston is just not the end of the world. It's not a final exam, but this is a major test because that means now people will say, well, now Bryce gets to come out. He's been resting since the second week of July or the third week of July, pretty much, and letting his body heal after playing pretty much every weekend. So now he gets a chance to show us his improved version and introduce that to the rest of the United States as well. And if Bryce Griggs does, last time he played at the camp was at John Lucas Camp about a year ago. And one of these, but it was an underclassman camp, I think. And at that time, the members from USA Basketball, Coach Showalter and his staff was there, sitting right there courtside and watched Bryce. But for some reason, I don't know, he wasn't impressed enough to extend an invite to USA Basketball trials.
Yeah, with enough of these niggas around here in this city hating on him and keep going.
Okay, now we get
somewhere. We get somewhere.
Y'all gotta understand, man. I hear from people out of town what the people in this city say about Anthony Fobbs said something great. He said, we sit up here talking about a kid that's probably in his algebra class right now. But guess what? We talking about Anthony Fobbs. You got on the feed late.
Anthony Fobbs, this ain't his show, Hatter.
Podcast yesterday. And we are Anthony Fobbs. We are an amateur. We talk about amateur sports only. I started off the show, Anthony Fobbs, talking about a 2021 young lady who I was impressed at the gym yesterday. No other radio show in the country gonna talk about her like that.
That's right.
And I started off the show. So of course we are allowed, because Glenn Smith went on a podcast yesterday and said something. I didn't see it on podcast. I let Jimmy listen to it. I told Jimmy to listen to it. But he went on a podcast and said that no, Fob, no. I ain't saying you was not what side you were on. I'm just explaining why we're talking about this young kid. I mean, and Jimmy tried to get me. Jimmy, I wasn't gonna go there. Let me tell you something.
Don't go there, Hatter. Don't do it, Hatter. Don't let him take you there, Hatter.
He'll be ready. That's all.
Don't let him take you there, Hatter. Don't let him take you there.
Play basketball.
But don't let him take you there. You know what he's trying to do to you, Hatter. Don't go there.
You know what? It's a shame. And that's what I took out of Fobbs' message and a lot of people's message. It's a shame. A guy told me this yesterday, and I'm going to bring it up because I'm sitting in the same workout, and a guy brought up something to me. He said, Robert, I heard that a guy was Dallas a guy from Dallas. He said, a guy from Dallas can put a stamp on a kid and everybody in Houston embraces the stamp. A guy from Dallas can come to Houston, and if he said a dude is cold in Houston, the guys in Houston gonna go along with the guy. In other words, he insinuated that Houston follows. So guess what I did? I said, hold up, I'm not gonna let it. So I called me a dude in Dallas. And a dude in Dallas said, hell no, Robert. That's not true. Because guess what? It's some people in Dallas, in Houston, they want to validate somebody. So it went back and forth. But Chris, I'm telling you personally.
The boy nice. The boy can play.
Glenn Smith came out of his mouth. The guy that mentioned my name on, that's the reason I'm mentioning his name, because he mentioned my name on it. We were at the EYBL. We sat and watched Keontae George. I watched him for 4 games. because I wanted to see all the guys that they say. And Glenn Smith said, man, can't say it out loud, but he ain't better than Griggs.
You just said it out loud, Hatter.
I said Glenn said it.
I know.
He
You
couldn't
gonna get Glenn killed in Dallas.
You know why? Because he brought his ass on a podcast and mentioned my name. So when you listen now, do your fair game.
I feel you.
So I'm really appalled at the lack of support that Bryce Griggs is getting from the people in Houston. And just because their family don't just...
Is it because of Harden or what?
It might be. Somebody mentioned that. Because you know what? Somebody mentioned that yesterday. Thank you, Chris Walker. Somebody mentioned that people in Houston, a lot of people don't like Harden because guess why? I'm going to help you. Guess why?
Don't say Moses Malone.
Yeah.
No, that's Jimmy homeboy. That's Jimmy homeboy. Don't say that.
He said it. He said it. Oh yeah, Glenn. Yeah, I told you secret, Glenn. Yeah. You can deny it if you want to, but I know you said it. So they said that, and I said, what? He said, Robert, I live in Dallas. It's some guys in Houston. They don't like the Harden's program. They don't like Harden. I don't know what Harden is doing to those guys down there, but people don't like him. But listen, please, I hope that's not the reason, Houston. And then I've learned in Houston, even with the development of my own son and his friends, if certain guys don't work them out, or he don't play for their program, or he ain't in that circle, these guys are not going to vouch for these kids. And I don't. One thing I learned about Dallas is, and Stacey says not true, but when I see them have a kid like this kid up there, they get behind their kid because they want their city to be big. They might not like the dude who working the kid out, but they push their kid in the city. And
Jimmy, you agree with that, Jimmy? What Hatter's saying?
In Houston.
Do you agree with Hatter?
No. I mean, you don't have to.
Which part?
Well, what he said about the way Dallas embraced their kids, Houston don't embrace their kids. You've been around Houston. Is that the truth? Does Dallas embrace their superstars that are young more than we do? That's what Hatter's saying.
Well, you have to probably so. And there's no more mouthpieces in Dallas than there are in Houston. It's just in Houston, there was a certain chain, and so now there's a wrestle with far as the old with the new, and the new is going to try to do everything they can to prove that the old is, just because it's old doesn't mean it don't work. The old has been evolving. As I mentioned that John Lucas doing his camp this weekend. This camp used to be called the Midwest Invitational. He changed the name to the John Lucas Invitation. Evolving means you're doing things different and you're changing. You know, like this radio concept. Think about how many people have been that we've inspired with the Chop Shop over the past 3 years. Over the past 3 years, just in the state of Texas, and think about to do necessarily to thrive to be on the radio. Don't get it twisted. If you're doing a podcast, if somebody came with a radio deal, I don't go damn, it was channel of 1799. You'll get on that channel if you didn't reach but 1 mile. But tomorrow. So the opportunity, what I'm saying is, in Dallas, is different. They in both cities have had peaks and valleys with players. Don't get this stuff twisted. And what happens is, I think you mentioned yesterday, one of the things is, it's the way you respond when your team wins. It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboy effect. If you've ever been around a Dallas Cowboy fan and you are not a Dallas Cowboy fan, or if you are a Dallas Cowboy fan, as Chris Walker is so eloquently, then guess what? Whenever they win, you're going to pump your chest a little bit harder. And then you're going to make the other person, you're going to make them stop what they're doing to watch you celebrate. And that's going to make that the opposing figure be grow, and you're going to antagonize it, possibly. And then they can't wait till you lose. They'll be quiet, but when you lose, they're going to come and remind you. They're going to make you stop what you're doing, Dallas Cowboy fan, and say, hold on, come here. Look at that score. What happened to you guys? And so it goes on and on and on. And that's some of the undercurrent of how the Houston versus Dallas rivalry goes.
Leave those kids alone, man. Bryce Griggs, a hell of a player. It'll all sort itself out. It'll all sort itself. Listen, man, I look at those guys, ranked players. It drives me crazy. They don't watch all the games. You can play. I always tell people about ranking. It's just 5 courts going on at one time. You can see a kid play on court 1. He don't play good. Now, in the case of Bryce Griggs, again, a lot of those guys at the EYBL, they're not watching 16 and under games with James Harden. So they probably saw him less. And yes, it had us right. He could be getting penalized because if the other dude plays really well and they don't see Bryce Griggs, guess what? That's how it works. So now, which lends itself to my other argument, why I always play kids up. But I've also seen that hurt kids. Because I used to play Tremont Mark up. And if Tremont Mark didn't play well, I would right away say, dude, he's in the 8th grade playing against Trey Duval. He's doing well. Then there's some 8th grader getting 50. I'm like, that dude would never get 50 playing against Trey Duval. What are y'all talking about? So it depends on who's doing the ranking, man. That's all we need to say about that. It just depends on who's doing the ranking. The kid can freaking play. It all sort itself out.
Oh, and that's all I say. Well, I really want to tell Jimmy that he'll be ready. He'll be ready.
But that's the whole thing. In this situation, the rank in this situation, the rank of what they are in Texas will not matter. This is a national stage now. What's going to matter is if they're going to see. Here's a way, and they've had several matchups at the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest where it's not about understand this. The event is held in Dallas, right? So the majority of that crowd is probably going to be in favor of Louisville High School versus Hightower High School. It better be. It should be. This young man, Mr. George, is ranked number 24 in the country. Bryce Griggs is not. So he's the favorite. Bryce Griggs is the underdog in this situation. There's a way for the underdog to still win, and there's a way for the favorite to win. The team who has the best team right now, I don't know. But at the end of the day, that team, that final score on the scoreboard, that's going to matter to those coaches. The fans are coming to see a show in that game. And there have been shows. De'Aaron Fox and Andrew Jones was a show. And it ended up propelling Andrew Jones into the
McDonald's game.
Conversation. And eventually into the McDonald's game. Because he was a senior at that time. A rising senior. So
you know what? And I got some, since we're talking about, I want to kind of transfer it to academia world. Jimmy, you sent me a couple of texts last night talking about, I think, New Mexico State.
New Mexico. Yeah.
New Mexico is allowing a free tuition for everybody in state that, and then I think Cornell's medical school. If you got the right stuff, you can get in their medical school and they'll pay for food, free room and board and everything. But I saw something that was also unique, Chris. A top 60 prospect in the country rejected high major offers this weekend and committed to play in an Ivy League school. And it makes you wonder why more players who are both smart and statistically unlikely to ever make it to the NBA don't choose this hard to argue against path. A young kid named Justice, and I want to tear his name up. I need to give it to Jimmy. He don't care. But it's Agagbo.
He African. Well, he African. We know that already.
A big 6'9" kid.
He's going to Harvard? I was about to say going to Harvard.
He's going over there to Tommy Amaker. And don't miss out what the words I said. It said, it makes you wonder why more kids who are both smart and statistically unlikely, not saying you can't make it, to ever make the NBA don't choose this hard to argue against path. You know, I've been talking about it for years. A great path if you're smart enough. But like I told him a long time ago, Jimmy, and Chris, that ain't nothing to play with. You got to really
the #1 school in the world. Come on, Harvard's the #1
really,
school in the world.
You really got to really know what you're doing when you
Let me give you
play. Okay, go.
Let me give you some context to that. First of all, they got Tommy Amaker there, #1. He has changed the landscape of Harvard, right? Second of all, the kid is right. If you don't think you're going to make the NBA and you're getting the best of both worlds, why not do that? Why not? Why go play at Ole Miss? Not that there's anything against Ole Miss. Why go play at, I don't want to piss some of these schools off. But again, unless you think you got a chance to make it, why do that? But you're not going to get people to do that because they want to play on CBS. They want to play on ESPN. Not that Harvard doesn't come on ESPN. And they want to play in front of 10 to 15,000 people every single game. So they want to go to the big football games. It's a whole lot of pageantry that goes along with college athletics that you won't get at Harvard, that only an academic kid that happens. So here's the question, Hatter. Is he a really good basketball player that happens to be smart, or is he smart and happens to be a really good basketball player? That's the question. Jimmy got a delay going over there. Jimmy, you all right?
Yeah, I'm off the delay. You should be hearing me fine.
Nah, we see you talking and stuff. It looks like you talking the whole time.
All right, come on, let's work.
Yeah, come on with it.
Is it still? Can you guys hear me now?
No, you're good right now. You're good.
That's what I figured. Yeah, that's
Okay.
Chris. Chris, you know what?
No, I'm looking at the delay. It looks like you're talking while I'm talking.
It looks like you're talking, but we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you though.
Wow, that's crazy. But anyway, I'm looking at some of the comments in the Boomer Room. That's where we'll go to and address some of these comments right now. And Chuck says, what do you think about harmony at Harvard? That's that's the topic we're talking about. But anyway, that's the kid. He says Lionel Gore said the Africans are making a huge impact in sports.
Who is Harmony?
I'm reading some of the comments.
But who is Harmony? I'm
that a player?
Who is Harmony?
I'm not sure. Chuck McCown said that and says
I think it's a young girl. It's a young lady. A young lady.
Cynthia Gilder said everybody ain't going to make it to the pros. Education is needed. And Todd Holmes come back and say one of the DFW top girls just committed to Harvard. That's the Harmony, the young lady Harmony.
Okay, gotcha.
And girls basketball. So some of the top kids are looking at the big picture. And now we mentioned earlier about the certain schools are moving now for free education. And as you mentioned earlier, in New Mexico, they're going to propose to give everybody who live in the state a free college education at a 4-year institution. This is huge. And remember, there are some people that are running for office that are having that on that pledging to promote something, some free health care for Elizabeth Warren, and some people free college education.
Bernie Sanders is free education.
Bernie is with the free education, and I think Elizabeth is with the Senator Warren is with the health care tip. Well, the thing is, times are changing, and as time changing, we see, and we mentioned but a different turn is taken. Bottom line, the NCAA.
I knew you was going there.
And they're going to have to make a decision very fast, meaning to stop the bleeding. They got time because even the Fair Pay to Play Act, which is waiting on the rubbers on the vote from the governor of California, and the 14 days. How many days does he have to go at it? Is it 14 days?
It ain't many more.
Those days are almost up. How many days does the governor? Yes, have to before he either vetoes it or approves this bill.
It goes into law. It goes.
How many days? Do you remember how many days he had?
He's not gonna sign it.
It was 30 days from the initial, but we got down about 14. So it's not.
He ain't signing it, Hatter. He ain't signing it. It's just gonna go in the law.
He's
gonna be very political.
Now check this out.
Could
If
you
you're
blame
keeping
him?
up with the news, and one of you guys out there in the Boomer Room, I'm gonna invite you to help me with this. If Hal or Chris, if you guys follow the political news on yesterday evening. On yesterday, check out the timing of this. Remember now, California, the NCAA is adamantly against this rule being passed, the Fair Pay to Play Act. However, the NCAA and Mark Emmert, who he's supported and supports the current sitting president of the United States, right? Check the time it is. Yesterday, it was announced, and it came across the ticker on all the news, the national news platforms, that the president is set to enact a law or a decision that would drastically impact the emissions standards in California. The timing of this.
But that's a state. The federal can't stop the state. They can have a state by state way of admitting kids to school. The federal can't do anything. They can stop them from getting financial aid and FAFSA, but they can't tell them how they can admit kids.
You're missing me though.
All right.
If my buddy wants you to stop and stand down on this law, on this Fair Pay to Play Act, and you saying to hell with my buddy, my way to get back at you if I can is to enact something like this and wreak my pain, my wrath on you and your state. That's what I'm wondering. That's just a theory. It's a theory.
It's a theory, Jimmy, because he's gonna lose California. He's gonna lose California anyway, so it don't really matter.
Yeah, that's absolutely. He's not trying to get California.
And he's gonna have to get it passed. And Jimmy, you already saw yesterday that South Carolina has put a resolution forward, and now New York has. They're all gonna do it. The minute Trump does that, all the blue states are gonna all put that same resolution forward. I guarantee you that. The NCAA does not want this fight, man. They need to just, like Jimmy, you made a great point. I don't know if you texted this morning. They need to cower down and figure out how to get along to get on, because if they don't, it's going to be disastrous and it's going to be their fault. The government that lined up against them now. It ain't just some kids that think they should get paid, Jimmy. Now they got the government, they got the legislators. Hatter made a great point. He always say, y'all ninjas need to stop complaining and go to the mayor, go to the city council, go to all them people you want some change. Look how this is changing. A kid tried to do it in Northwestern. What did they do? Shut it down. Nancy Skinner from Berkeley, she brings it up forward. The guy Marlon down in South Carolina, now they're doing the same thing in New York. They have got the right people on board. It's going to catch like wildfire, Jimmy. It's going to catch like wildfire.
And what we don't know is, Chris, always remember, in politics, there's no permanent friends, no permanent
enemies,
and only permanent interests. So all of these politicians, they go to conventions. They know each other. Don't you know Skinner ain't called everybody else?
Oh, man.
Each other.
And you know what they do, Jimmy? You just like everything else. We say be on the right side of what? Politics. That's what we say all the time, Jimmy. So, Jimmy, you already know.
Do you think most people know that?
Nah, they don't know that. They don't understand it. That's why we always fight. That's why we always fight about rankings. That's why we be fighting about rankings all the time.
But I'm gonna tell you who does know. You remember we was in all up in a tizzy about Stephen Ross and his support, his hosting Donald Trump's event.
Yeah.
And his black CEO, which is a woman named Diane Burford, she had a strong conversation with him and said, "Hey man, why did you do it?" And he said something so key. He said, "Man, I give him more money to Democrats than I've ever gave to this. They just asked me to host this function. So, and I've given more money to Democrats. And what I've learned in politics, being a political science major, Jimmy, super rich and wealthy people, they always want to be on the right side of politics. If you go look at the former CEO of Rise, the young lady, I can't forget her name. She resigned. She's running for a Senate seat in Michigan. This is Stephen Ross' right-hand girl. She's a Democrat. He's giving money to her.
But Hatter,
super rich people always want to be on the
right side
of politics.
Hey, Hatter, speaking of the right side of politics, I sent you a text and you said, duh. Think about it. His general counsel is what?
African American.
The woman that runs Rise is what?
African American.
His general manager of the Dolphins is what?
African American.
His head coach is what?
Black.
So what team in the NFL has all that going for it?
Hold on, and one of his most popular minority investor owners.
Two of them, not one of them, two of them.
Yeah.
Add them in there. Keep going.
The Williams sisters.
I mean,
and who else? Who else, Jimmy?
That's two.
Right. So I mean, we had to say we gotta.
Nothing against Kenny Stills. He just wasn't informed on who his boss is. He just wasn't informed. I didn't know.
But Hatter, before you make that point, this is what we got to understand, not just as black people, as Americans. If none of us did the homework that you did and pulled the layer over, we would all be jumping and happy with Kenny Stills, be like, man, screw that dude. So we would all be saying that. But until you get the facts, right? That might be the fact that they got a black CEO, a black general counsel, a black general manager, and a black head coach might be the reason why Venus and Serena say, I want a piece of ownership there. For all we know. But people just watch CNN, they watch Fox, and they don't do their homework and learn politics. That's how they get their news. Instead of, what does the Bible say? Study to what? Show thyself approved. That's right. So what I'm saying is, no, I ain't thinking, but what I'm saying is sometimes we got to get under the hood. That's what we got to do. Like how to say it. Go on, Hatter.
What I say? No.
Go on. No, I'm saying it's going to make it
so unique. I wouldn't have known, Jimmy, the undefeated. That's why I love the undefeated, man. If y'all get a chance, just do a little reading. These people go in depth. They talked about. Diane hadn't been on the job at Rise but for a year after the young lady I was telling you about resigned. And she's been on the job just a year. And guess what else I found out, Chris? Rise, the program, Rise is the Ross Initiative for Equality in Sports. He founded that.
Right, Rise is sports equality, right. But how to tell everybody the story about Georgetown. Tell everybody the story about Georgetown and the HBCUs. Tell that story.
So Rise go around talking to all the colleges. They're going to talk to all the colleges about equality in sports and all that, right? So during the time that Stephen Ross had this snafu with Donald Trump, guess what? And she didn't out them. She didn't talk about the university, but she said the university, the HBCU, turned her down, and some other of the HBCUs and their African American partners, they kind of backed off on them. They didn't want the help because of a tweet that Kenny Stills made. Y'all, we got to be very responsible when we make these tweets and don't, and we don't just pull a little bit around the layer. Because you know what I thought about Stephen Ross? I thought about him, Chris and Jimmy. Steve is a male, okay? He's straight, he white, and he well off.
Whoa. Who's white?
Stephen Ross.
Okay, right.
Just, you follow me here. I'm taking you somewhere.
Okay.
Steve Ross, he's a male, right? He's straight. Right. He's white. And he's well off, privileged. I just personally don't think he experiences Donald Trump as a predator the way we do. Because guess what? He got privilege. What can Donald Trump do to him?
Now, one thing. All the tax breaks. He getting all the tax breaks.
Jimmy, I know you sniggling over there, but you know how if something don't matter to you, you don't even care nothing about it. You ain't even concerned about it. If something is not bothering you, it's some stuff happening right now, Chris Walker, in the hood, okay, that I probably wouldn't have no idea what's going, because I ain't been over there. And everybody in the hood said, well, damn, Robert, you should know you black.
No, you bougie, though. They don't know you bougie black, though. But keep going, though.
No. I'm just saying, when I go back and peel these layers back,
right,
that it don't bother. Like, you remember I said this about Bob McNair a long time ago. I said the reason he's not affected by police brutality, because his son is not going to get stopped by the police. So now we got to, hold up. What I see now, you remember I told you we got to have some critical conversations? Because you got to realize these privileged white people that got means, they used to stuff being a certain way. But now you got Chris Walker that can fly a private jet. Now you got Chris Walker in the Hamptons. Now you got Jimmy Hicks can do these same things these privileged people been doing. Man, some of these people don't like that. They don't care about common good. And that's the bottom line. We feel, because you said it yesterday, Chris, these people should be, Robert, but what's right is right. But boy, when you've been privileged all your life and riding around on yachts and private planes, you don't even have to go to the airport to see us if you don't want to.
The Clearport. Like Jay-Z say, the Clearport. I don't go to the airport. I go to the Clearport.
So I'm not taking up for Stephen Ross. I'm just always look and see that it's three sides to every story. It's your side, my side, and the truth.
And the truth.
I think I'll go.
I got you.
Speaking of course, Sandra, one thing, you got breaking news. Of course, one thing I love about the Boom Boom Room, man, they're going to always keep us up on point of breaking news. According to ESPN, just released that the DA will not prosecute Antonio Brown.
Told you.
Due to the statute of limitations. This is just breaking news, and so this is a great victory.
It don't have nothing to do with the civil case.
No.
You're right, but that's good news, though.
It doesn't, but it has something to do with him not being placed on that. If they would have said, yes, we're going to pursue, he's automatically going on the exempt list.
Hold up. Hey, Jimmy, is that the DA from Pittsburgh or the DA from Miami?
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we got to wait on the judgment from the Pittsburgh. I mean, from the Miami.
Because if something happened in Miami or Florida, yeah.
Because that was the supposedly actual penetration and rape happened. So great news, Sandra. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's and so speaking of course of news, want to share with you guys. We shift gears. For y'all guys, if you're done with that topic, we have a couple other topics to get into and some really intriguing stuff. We're even going to talk some NBA stuff today as well.
But Jimmy, you do need to explain to us why you got that the Ohio State shirt on.
Yeah,
we need to understand why you painted a the on there, because they tried to get what do they call it? Oh my God, the name escapes me. LeBron tried to get Taco Tuesday.
They tried to get a trademark. They tried to get a trademark.
They tried to get the trademark, Adam. And Jimmy then went and painted it on his shirt. And I'm trying to figure out, Jimmy ain't been to Ohio a day in his life since Nike camp left. And I'm trying to figure out why he got Ohio State shirt on.
Yeah,
tell us why, please.
That's about the last time I've been there too, is with Nike camp.
Exactly.
But I mean LeBron camp, that is. But Rick Pitino and Louisville have both agreed to dismiss their civil suits against each other. Remember now, Rick Pitino, he's the former head coach at Louisville, guys, basketball coach. And remember when all this stuff cracked when the recent NCAA scandal cracked a year and a half, or almost 2 years ago, and which resulted in at least 4 individuals being convicted. Another 3 took plea bargains in their roles in basically pay to play schemes, or what they would be known as now. Well, Rick Pitino met with the University of Louisville. Remember, they fired him back in 2017 for what they call a breach of contract. He turned around and sued them for more than $35 million. So now, part of this agreement gets him to gets the verbiage changed to him being as resigned instead of being fired, right? And I'm gonna read one comment from Rick Pitino after this. And you guys, and I'm gonna get your thought, Chris, you first, because you're the resident college coach. I want you to interpret this comment. Rick Pitino says, "I still have so much passion for the game and so many goals I want to achieve. From this day forward, I start my climb." My climb. Chris, what that mean to you? Interpret that for me. Cipher that.
Listen, I've recently reactivated my Twitter account, and you know what I said on Twitter? I said Rick Pitino's trying to get back into the game. You know how much money they owed him at Louisville? For him to say no to that, you know what that means in his mind, Jimmy? Or let me read between the lines. If I go get another job, I can get that back. But I can't get it back as long as these people have this over my head. So let us both mutually disagree, agree to disagree, which is fine, put it out in public, and now I can go get the job at such and such university, and they're going to pay me $2 million per because I'm still Rick Pitino. Here's my thing, guys, and I'm not, I hate to put things in terms of race. I'm writing a book right now. Race is a part of it. I'm an African-American in the United States. I'm not ashamed. I'm not anti-white, but I am unapologetically African-American. We still haven't touched that subject of Damien Archibald saying that crabs in a bucket, and we talked about why would you ever put crabs in a bucket, and we could talk about that stuff and how and why we react to things the way we do, because we've been conditioned to be a certain way because of the way we've been treated. But Jimmy, if Rick Pitino was African-American, would we even be having this conversation about him? I mean, this is crazy to me, unbelievable to me, that we're even having this conversation. Because until that boy, and I used to work for a guy that worked for Rick Pitino, and he loves him, but until the dude that supposedly put the prostitute ring in action, until he speaks, Rick Pitino should not be allowed to coach. Until that kid speaks, the same way by Barry Bonds. I love Barry Bonds. He was my favorite. But when Greg Anderson took his butt to jail and we haven't heard from him since, that means one thing: Barry gave him some money. So where is the kid that put the ring together? When he comes out and says that Rick Pitino didn't do it, that's when I'll believe, and we should move on.
Well, that's Coach McGee, and Coach McGee is originally from California and played for Louisville and was hired as an assistant coach up under Rick Pitino. Remember, somebody did an expose and called the Uber car and hopped in the back seat, and he was the driver. He was been driving Ubers. That was about 4 years ago, and tried to get him to give a comment, and he was like, "No, man, no comment," and actually basically canceled the ride and put the reporter out. And Andre McGee is his name. And so I'm like, okay, you Andre McGee, put it like this: he was driving Uber. Doesn't mean that he, but it doesn't mean that you were living how either. So if Louisville, you were protecting Rick Pitino, right? Cool. That's great. That's great for the launch. I'm not a proponent of nobody's shit. Never been that in my life. So I'm not a proponent of it. But in this situation, you're not going to coach anymore. If that's what you probably thought for a little while, just be cool, hush up, and guess what? We can
He'll never coach again. He will never coach again.
He'll never coach again. So
never coach again.
Now they better be taking care of it. That's all I can. At Louisville, they better be taking care of it.
No, not Louisville. Not Louisville. Yeah. Somebody in Pitino's family better be taking care of it. Keep it quiet.
Because the program, the program will get in shambles as well. They've already had to give back, vacate championship.
Yeah, they're not giving back, but they are giving back the money that they made off of all the run. They're not giving back none of that money. Let me ask you a question, guys. I'll say this. I've been a college coach. Again, I'm going to be on television. I criticize coaches. I'm criticizing decisions. I don't know Rick Pitino personally. I actually liked him, you know, the way he plays and stuff. But this has nothing to do with Rick Pitino, the basketball coach, guys. This is Rick Pitino, the leader and decision maker. So if Rick Pitino ever heard the chop shop, don't be mad at me. I'm saying if the shoe was on the other foot or you wasn't and you weren't not a Hall of Famer, this is why Chris Walker is a proponent of, think about this, Hatter, and I want Hatter's opinion. Why do college basketball coaches get inducted into the Hall of Fame before they retire? It makes no sense, because when they do that, the NCAA is in a tough spot because they don't want to shame one of their own. Jim Boeheim has been on probation numerous times, still coaching. Rick Pitino, Hall of Fame. You can't, and not that John Calipari is doing anything, Hall of Fame. Roy Williams, Bill Self. Why are these guys in the Hall of Fame before they stop coaching? It's not fair. It's the same way when Coach K was the coach of the Olympic team, and he's still recruiting high school kids. Is it funny? Isn't it funny? Duke was in a decline, Hatter, and he says, I'm not recruiting one and done guys. He becomes the Olympic coach, and then guess what happened? Duke's on the rise again.
He started recruiting one and gonna die.
Started recruiting one and done guys. No, he started using those NBA players to help him recruit too. Why do you think LeBron say my kid going to do? That's a recruiting pitch in and of itself, Hatter. So what I'm saying is, some of these guys, I love them, and they do a lot of great good. They write books. They win championships, but at the end of the day, they're the ones getting the opportunities. All I'm saying is, if his name wasn't Rick Pitino, Jimmy, and you blotted out his name, and you said all those things that has happened on this watch, that dude wouldn't get a job at the gas station. That's all I'm saying. And last thing I'll say is this. If you're, hey, Hatter, you got that great big old house over there, right? Right? You got that great big old house. If you had raccoons and rats in the bedroom, would you know about it? Of course you would. A college coach is the college coach is the biggest control freak on the earth. The biggest control freaks on the earth are college football coaches and college basketball coaches. Robert Hatter had a son that played college basketball for Bill Courtney at Cornell. I guarantee you, if you talk to his son today, he's like, man, them dudes in my business all the time. I can't breathe. They always own me. They want to know everything I'm doing, everywhere I'm going. My life is planned. You think for 2 seconds, if they were running a prostitution ring on Cornell's campus, that Bill Courtney wouldn't know about it? Come on, Jimmy. They need to stop this stuff, man. Come on, man. They need to stop this stuff. If that dude, if there was Chris Walker doing that, I'd be under the jail cell. And by the way, we got a dude, that kind of stuff's going on, and we got a dude of our own, Book Richardson, in jail right now, with a guy that was probably doing X, Y, and Z, I ain't going to say his name, still coaching, making millions. And you know what he didn't do, Jimmy? He didn't snitch. That's what he didn't do.
Exactly.
So we got to be careful how we look at this stuff, man.
He did not. And
he did not snitch.
You know, and unfortunately, all of the coaches that received convictions by way of plea or trial were of color. No, as it stands, no white coach has been convicted of any of this stuff. So that's the thing that a lot of people, and that has like a taste in people's mouth. They want to be balanced out, which is in our society is just not balanced out, even though we're the minority in the coaching ranks.
But Jimmy, we're not the Jimmy. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that statement. Not that's a problem. Think about Christian Dawkins Hatter, right? And I hate to say this about brothers because I make sure I alleviate myself from this type of thinking. And I damn sure want to make sure other coaches, especially African-American coaches I know listen to this show. We are not just recruiters, right? But unfortunately, we get hired. All you got to do, and I'm calling every coach, white and black, out. When you go to the Final Four, you know what it's like, Hatter? It's like going to church on Sunday. It's the most segregated day of the week. Jimmy, am I making sense? The brothers hang with the brothers. The white guys hang with the white guys. But guess who does the majority of the recruiting? They don't send the white guy to hang out with Greg Wise. They don't send that dude to hang out with Steven Woods. So guess what? Christian Dawkins is dealing with the brothers. That's who's going to get caught. A white guy's not going to get caught that way, Jimmy. So it's not fair to say none of those guys. Yeah, what's unfair is that they had Sean Miller and Wade, and they didn't make those guys testify. But as far as recruiting, they weren't going to get a black coach. What do you mean? Because guess what? I mean, they weren't going to get a white coach because the brothers do all the recruiting. Dare I say, Hatter, correct me if I'm wrong, when it becomes to being runners as agents. Who are the guys that are in this field doing that stuff most times? Getting close to those kids. Black guys. Black guys. So when the NCAA, so Jimmy,
the players are black.
Exactly.
Players are black.
Hey, thank you. So when the NCAA says third party guys, when they say AAU guys, freak people, they're not talking about white guys, Jimmy. You know this, Jimmy. You're on the chop shop. Stop doing that. Stop Gregory Hines and me, Jimmy. Please.
Stop Gregory Hines and you. Come on now. If anybody tap dance on something on those type of, it's not you. You know that. You just saying it because you want to see how it sounds. You just saying stuff. You want to see how it sounds. But anyway, guys, we're going to Women Rock Wednesday, and this topic right here is very delicate. So the next topic.
Let me sign off then. Let me sign off. I'll see y'all tomorrow then.
No. It's not like that. It's delicate because I'm going to use Women Rock Wednesday to get a lot of the females to share their thoughts on this topic because it's happening far too often. And with celebrities and sports figures. Okay, you missed out on this on baseball. There's a young man who's a closer of the Pittsburgh Pirates who have to be in dead last, so the team is not a factor in the going into the postseason. His name is Felipe Vasquez. Felipe Vasquez was arrested earlier this week and charged with 6 counts, right, of multiple felonies related to his contact with a then 13-year-old girl. He's 15 years old now. This was 2 years ago. He met this girl. Guess where he met her at, guys? He met her while in the bullpen during the game. While in the bullpen. That's what they call the bullpen, guys, for y'all your viewers who are not basketball fans. The bullpen is where the pitchers come from when they come take the mound, when they warm up. That's known as referred to as the bullpen. So pitchers stay there if they know they're going to pitch that or possibly pitch that particular day. That's why you see sometimes you may see some pitchers like Justin Verlander pitched last night for the Astros. He's not going to be in the bullpen. He's a starter. He's going to be in the dugout tonight when they play Texas Rangers. So back to this young man. He met this 13-year-old girl while he was in the bullpen. He was a closer. So the closer on that position in baseball is the pitcher who normally comes to the mound in the 8th or the 9th inning to seal the deal. That's the closer. Mario Rivera, the old Yankees, who's recognized as the best closer of all time. Well, now this young man, Felipe Vasquez, I want to read you some of this stuff from the report. Right? He say after he met the girl, he exchanged. He knew that she possibly was under 16 and 13. So he never asked her age, so he said. He said he exchanged nude photos and videos with the young girl while she was 13 years old. Just imagine, understand, I told you this topic. Imagine if this was your daughter, right? This happened to her. You have no idea this is happening because this has been going on years, and it did not stop. So the parents from the family moved away from Pennsylvania, right, and moved to Florida. And guess what Mr. Vasquez kept doing? He kept contacting the young lady, continuing their relationship. Right? The mom finally, as many moms out there have done, he finally discovered the photos and or video on her daughter's cell phone. And that's how this case unraveled. She immediately contacted the authorities, and that's where we are right now. So my question is,
Jimmy, hold up. You said they moved.
Finally? Yeah.
Wait a minute. The mama moved before she saw. Why did the mama move again?
The family moving. They moved.
But why?
It probably wasn't related. It wasn't related to this. People move all the time, man. So they just relocated.
No, but it sounds like you said they had to
move because of that.
Yeah. No. That's what you guys interpret. No, they didn't say that. The family moved from Pennsylvania to Florida. So that's right. And shortly after arriving in Florida, right, the mom discovered these videos or photos on her daughter's phone. Now, here's where I'm at with this. And solutions. We understand on the man's side. We done beat this. We hear this stuff all the time. We are far too often. So now, moms, I just need your thought. And that is your teenage daughters. They know right from wrong and to a certain degree. So I'm trying to watch because I don't want to go and slip something too deep into this mud. That's why I'm trying to watch how this comes out. Why are so many young ladies being bred to go and solicit and engage with with grown men? And feeding into the problem and serving as bait to these grown men, which we know we've identified. There's a multitude of grown men in our society that have a problem and don't care about the age. When I used to go to the clubs all the time, I swear to you, often I sit back on the perch, you look from a different angle, and you can look down at the bar place going, and I would see what would look like minors just grinding and going, and guys that would look like they were close to my age out there on the day just grinding. And I'm looking at my man in the VIP and everybody. I'm looking. So my question is there anything parents, mothers out there, females, that could be done to help? Or should there be more from the home front of preparing and making the young ladies understand that these situations won't end? They won't end good. That's what I want to know.
Well, okay, and I want to know too, how could a mama go let a 14-year-old Lisa Marie Presley live with a 24-year-old Elvis Presley? So it's been going on a long time, Jim.
A very long time. And so, and Elvis Presley is not the only case in the world. Hell, the recent R. Kelly case, a lot of those parents knew when their daughters first met R. Kelly, how old their children, their daughters were, when they helped. And some parents, according to the documentary, were backstage present with their daughters when they first met. So
I got a question. We got a lot of educators on the air, and they be around these kids a lot. I know Sandra, I don't know what grade she in, but I am finding these younger high school girls, just watching them. I'm at a football game, just watching them. Jimmy, they are not like the young girls we had when we grew up. I'm not trying. No, listen. No.
Chris, he look at the little high school girls, man.
No. I'm talking about they cussing. They talking crazy. They don't even care if a grown man is a grown woman around. They cussing and I'm sitting there saying, maybe their mom's younger and they pick. I don't know. I'm just saying, when you go, just go to the mall, go anywhere. These young people young women are a lot more advanced. I ain't gonna lie.
Hatter. All we got to do is listen to the rap songs, Hatter. They'll let a rapper say whatever in the world about him, and here's my thing about this stuff, and I'm gonna be in the minority.
Wow.
They'll let the rapper say anything in the world about what they doing with their body, how they can do this and that, and we get mad when white people say the N-word in the song that we're profiting from. And we'll say in a minute, well, there's a difference between N-I-G-G-R and N-I-G-G-A. Okay, well, if N-I-G-G-A mean friend, then why we get mad when they say it? I don't get it. But when you see those girls out there dressing a certain way and acting a certain way, look at the songs they listen to. Hatter, what was the song you told me about the other day? Tatiana? What is Tatiana? Think about what you're saying.
And the girls love it.
Love the songs.
When it come on, they said they flop. He calling you a thought. And this the kid who said he done, since January, he done slept with 1,000 women, I think. This guy, Blueface, that's his name. This the guy who sung that song, Chris and Jimmy. But he calling them all, he degrading them throughout the whole video.
And they making him rich.
Getting rich. And he said he done been with 1,000 of them since January.
Well, tell everybody what thought means, because we might have some older people on the chop shop.
Thought means that hoe over there.
Unbelievable.
That
unbelievable. That's unbelievable to me. That's unbelievable to me. That's unbelievable to me. That's what that means. And they go sing this. I heard a Rick Ross song the other day. I was like, God dang, the women. And I saw people at the gym, and the girls were reciting every word. I'm like, do you realize what you're saying? And then you ask me why they dress the way they dress and why dudes look at them that way. And I'm like, and look at Instagram. If I watch one more girl on Instagram trying to be a supermodel, trying to get followers, I'm going to lose my mind, man.
Perfect example.
Unbelievable.
Megan Thee Stallion, the little girl is just, because her raps are terrible, she's shaking her behind and half-naked ass on the stage, twerking, and now she's a star. She's a star. And I don't know one song she done put out, but I can bet you she's nasty as hell on them songs.
Ridiculous, man.
I mean, so now we go to the Boomer Room and get some of these comments. And he said, Kenny said the majority of the people watching the Hustlers movie were young women. I wonder what message they left with. Wow.
Were they with their parents? Were they with their mammas?
I went to see the movie on Friday night, right? When I got up to Shreveport before the funeral for both of my sisters, right? And I went to see the movie, and I didn't know that the movie had just started on Friday. It wasn't no more than 15, 20 people in that theater when I was there. I thought it had started the week before. But now that I'm thinking about it, there was about 6 girls that came together that were young girls. That's why I said, wow, in the movie. And it's you're right, man. It's a different society out there. But here's the question: if you have a daughter, so obviously that girl was attracted. That man went to their house. The pitcher that's arrested from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Felipe Vasquez, is arrested now and charged with at least 6 felonies stemming from his relationship with the then 13-year-old girl. Now the girl is 15 now. So maintain the relationship past 13. Now, my thing is the relationship included him driving to her house on the day of a game, mind you, on game day, and sit out there in the car.
Got to get it in, man.
To listen and tried, and they mentioned. I read the details. She said he penetrated her. And she stopped him. So she says immediately. And he went and said, well, I got to go to a ball game. Then he goes and texts her, we got some unfinished business. Let's finish our business. And blah, blah, blah.
And is he from the DR? Is he from the DR?
Where from?
I don't know exactly. I look it up exactly where he's from.
I guarantee he's from the DR. I guarantee he's from the DR.
He's finna be somewhere else in a minute.
They go deep the shit out of him if it
Gonna
is.
DR him.
And the thing is, my thing is, but where young ladies think to her, this young girl, right, engaged is different. He didn't imprison her. I'm not making it light. I'm just talking about how ways she could have escaped.
Yeah, but she's a young girl, man. She's impressionable. He's a celebrity. He's a young girl.
Jimmy,
come on, Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
I can't blame the girl.
No. I'm not blaming the girl.
R. Kelly, man. It's the same thing.
I'm not blaming the girl. I'm talking about the understanding at some point moving forward. We know. In other words, if you walk up to that same little girl and say, hey, little girl, you want some candy? She said, no, mister, get away from me. Know why? She's been taught to understand. If a guy walks up to you and asks you for some candy,
Jimmy,
don't mess with
grown-ass men got to leave these babies alone, man.
Jimmy, look at that. Look at that. Come on, man. So
somebody,
you know what somebody told me, Jimmy? Somebody says, I don't believe the Michael Jackson thing. These white parents, they were just unbelievably crazy about Michael Jackson and let their kids. Let me tell you something, man. Celebrity is something else. You got kids that will listen to Travis Scott before they listen to Barack Obama. Do y'all understand that? What's going on out there in this world?
Yes, sir.
That's how much power some of these people have over these kids because they can sing a song, because they can hold a note and put a couple of words together. Come on, man.
Did you hear what that little boy said? Travis Scott saved my life. I don't know where I would be without him. Think if that was a girl, young 13 and 14 girl.
They out there.
She'll jump
out
on
airplanes. Absolutely.
What his name?
Absolutely.
So it's the lure. I call it the what they call the Piper effect. He blow on that horn and blow on that whistle, and those kids gonna follow them right on into the ocean or until the abyss somewhere. It's unbelievable, man. This dude, Rich, can go buy any woman he wants to in Pittsburgh. They got strip clubs in Pittsburgh.
They got more than strip clubs. They got all kind of stuff. They got online dating.
Yes.
Tinder.
They got, that stuff you
Come
use.
on, man.
Tinder.
Stop it. Stop. Stop it. I stopped that. Stop it.
But Jimmy, they got all of these memes and all of this stuff, and you still want the forbidden fruit.
It's unbelievable, man. I mean, dude, I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, seriously, man. A girl that young, you understand? Different guys psychologically what's inside of them, different people, different strokes, different folks. I truly believe that. But it's like, I mean, really. And you know what? More facts is going to come out of this case. Because I'm curious, because right now, if I'm reserving on the parent, I'm going to tell you why. It's hardly, don't you think it'd be next to impossible? This young girl lives right outside Pittsburgh, right? She had to be somewhat of a baseball fan because her family had to have decent seats, even though they were in the
not in the bullpen.
Well, I say decent in Pittsburgh. Understand how Pittsburgh? I've been in that stadium before, so Pittsburgh Stadium is intimate, right there. That's a baseball town. Ain't nothing much else to do until the Steelers.
No, that's a football town, sir.
Football
town.
You talking about Jimmy talking about We Are Family with back in the day with Dave Parker and Willie Stargell and all them dudes.
They got history.
Kent Jacoby, that's his guy. Omar Marino.
Yeah, all that right there. All of my guys.
Baseball town. Oh
no. I'm understanding. I'm talking about it's nothing that's much to do. In the town, the stadium, it's right there. You got the big hill with the train coming down. You sit right up in there. But here's what I'm saying. Those seats, that stadium, I don't know now, but back in the days, it would always be sold out. That's a hot ticket in the town. So here's what I'm saying. For her to be at the game and seated that close to the rail of the bullpen, then guess what it means? That means somebody had to had bought those seats. She didn't get those seats by herself. So what I'm saying is, do you think that over the course of the next year and a half, that young girl probably didn't come up on that man and leave her those tickets to the game?
No, you got to have an ID to get the tickets. Then she left for the parents then.
It's
Yeah, she
reckless.
got to leave for the parents because you got to have ID to get the tickets.
So you think if she didn't want to go, if she didn't sit there and they didn't exchange strip videos, you think if she wanted to go to a game, if she said,
you know what I'm
Jimmy,
thinking about, Chris? You know what got me right now, Jimmy? These little girls, like somebody just said, these little girls be actually sexting and texting. These little girls be actually taking a video of their little 13 and 12 and 14-year-old bodies and sending them to people. Jimmy, that's a crime if you receive them.
That's the whole thing. They're not taught that that's the crime. They're taught that they're in the moment and it's fun to them because that's the thing to do. That's what I'm saying. So back in the household, certain things can be let them know, hey, listen, if you do this, then that's an ultimate no-no. It's like growing up, certain things a parent teach you that's a no-no. You know that stove. Now, eventually, understand, a lot of kids know the stove is a no-no. They don't get burned by the doggone stove before they realize it's a doggone no-no. You know that's a no-no, right? And to know the kid to do, they'll stop. That's a no-no. So you're programming that kid that.
But Jimmy, Wendy on the Facebook feed said, she said her mom, where was her mom all this time? Her mom knew this bullshit.
Exactly.
If her mom knew it, why would she finally turn the guy in?
Hatter, I didn't want to say it. Hatter. But if you watch the R. Kelly situation, the moms knew what was going on with letting it happen until it got to a point where what? They couldn't control it anymore. So as Jimmy's point, I'm speculating. But Jimmy's point, I'm going to finish Jimmy's point for him. Jimmy's saying she had to have gotten some tickets. Guess who we gave the tickets to? And I'm speculating. The parents. That's who we gave the tickets to.
Hold up. Mika just said something. It's a crime to send them. So if you send them so they need to arrest the girl for sending them?
Nah, she's a minor.
To a grown man. That's what I'm telling you. It's not a crime for the minor to send them. It's the crime for the grown-ass person to receive them. Somebody got to explain that to Coach Jimmy.
We need a lawyer for that one. I don't know about that one. Yeah, we got to get a lawyer for that.
You can explain why you said true. If a 13-year-old send that video to a grown man and he receives it and he watches it, some lawyer got to tell me, or some police officer got to tell me that is a crime. Who is the crime? So that's the case, the girl going to jail, too. Because she sent him.
Well, I've had it right here in the state of Pennsylvania, the sexting law, according to the penal code in the state of Pennsylvania, right? That minors, I'm talking about. We know the grown-ups. We're talking about the minors. Pennsylvania has a law in the books that specifically addresses the transmission of sexually explicit images by minors. The law provides that a minor commits a summary offense when he or she knowingly shares, distributes, or publishes electronic communications, including a sexual explicit image of him or herself. And also, if you knowingly possess or view a sexual explicit image of a minor
rest my case.
who is the age of 12 or older.
He was 13 though. She was 13.
So 12 or older.
Don't open it. If you open it, you better. And if you don't know where it's coming from, you better delete it. Cause
so that means the 13-year-old is in trouble, summary offense, as well as the receiver.
Yes, the receiver. I knew it.
And we knew we figured the receiver would be. We figured the sender would be. We didn't know about the receiver. So yes, indeed, that's according to the Pennsylvania laws. I mean, so now guys, we can shift gears on that. I mean, it's crazy.
Let's shift.
I mean, it's insane.
Let's pray. Hold up.
Let's pray. We got to pray on that one.
Oh, there goes Deacon trying to catch up. Look at God. Now, I want to give you guys, we're going to go and chime into the NBA realm before we get into this next topic. Well, then of course, you're just tuning in. Yes, I'm going to release you guys the information for the Super 16 extravaganza that coming up shortly. But first, we got to talk a little NBA talk. Isaiah Taylor, former Houston product from the Village School and University of Texas, has signed a partial guaranteed deal with the Toronto Raptors.
Is that a two-way?
No.
What's partially guaranteed, Hatter? Partially guaranteed?
He's not eligible for a two-way.
They gave him some money to show up. They
to go to camp, you mean?
Money to show up. The rest of it, he got to make the team to get.
Gotcha.
So, and there will be 20 players in training camp. However, only 12 are currently under contract. Now, you can explain how many players does a team get to put under contract?
20. They can carry on to 20 to camp, and they can keep 17. They can keep. It's 12 that dress out, 3 that sits on the bench, can sit on the bench, and then you can have the two-ways. And then, anything else?
Isaiah
Taylor. So three guys will get cut then. What it sound like?
Yeah, three guys. Three guys.
So the way it sounds on this deal, remember a year ago, Isaiah Taylor, he last played in 2017-18 season for the Atlanta Hawks. And he averaged 11 points, 4.7 assists, and only 25 games of action that season, which was pretty damn good for a reserve. And he was brought into the Cavs a year ago, but hurt his leg and was cut right before the first game. And I think they decided at the time Colin Sexton was doing better than was going to be their guy. They really didn't need him as well. So now this situation, I want to just mention you guys, in case you wondered where was Isaiah Taylor. He really has a chance to make this team as a reserve with Toronto. Now, speaking of NBA news, Steph Curry has said that he's committed.
I'm on the team.
He said that's the plan. That's what he said.
Listen to what I'm saying. He gave us
at least verbal. He said that dude with the Days and Dukes on didn't say nothing.
Hold on.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Hold on.
LeBron James.
The people don't know what the story is. Y'all jump the gun. Stay in the kill.
Okay. Stay in the car. I'm gonna stay in the car.
No. I mean, this whole time, you're biting it, chomping at the bit. Steph Curry has solid verbal to the 2020 Olympics. Now, mind you, where's this coming from? Understand one thing. I provide you the intel for you guys to share your thoughts on it. Steph Curry, I read you his quote. He says, "This is the reason. I've never been on the Olympic team. I've been on 2 World Cup championship gold medal teams, but the Olympics is the experience that I want. And next year will hopefully be it." And understand, the assistant coach for the U.S. Olympic team is Coach Curry, the current head coach of the Golden State Warriors. So you guys now, you can go.
So Jimmy, what you're saying is that we're gonna get the brakes beat off us next year in the Olympics with Steph Curry playing on the team. That's what you're saying.
No, it's not gonna happen. No, absolutely not. I take all bets on that next year.
He was saying that so I could say something.
No, because that's your nephew. Because that's your nephew. Because that's your nephew.
I'm gonna say something. That's it.
Hey, let me tell you something, Jimmy. Let me tell you something. If Steph Curry played on this team this year, they still would have lost. Okay, how about that?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure.
They still would have lost.
I'm not sure about that. No, because he would have brought the best out of those guys.
Hey, whatever. Did y'all see how the Rockets? It was kind of quiet. Maneuvered around to this salary cap thing, trying to open up some money just in case Iguodala will come. Did you see that article, Jimmy?
Well, I heard we talked about it in the Chop Shop earlier as the Rockets were very interested in Iguodala.
No, I ain't talking about interested.
No, I'm saying
what happened is they said
Memphis was going to release him.
Yeah, but they said you need $13 million or so in salary land around to make it happen, right? 13.8. They said that changed on Wednesday when Bobby Marks of ESPN reported the details of one of the most creative contracts in NBA history, the Houston Rockets signed 36-year-old backup big man Nene, who only played 13 minutes per game last season, to a 2-year, $20 million contract. If that number looks suspicious to you, it should. The Rockets aren't really going to pay him $20 million.
Sign and trade.
They just exploited an obscure rule in the league's collective bargaining agreement to inflate his salary number to such a degree that a player who went unsigned in free agency over 2 months could serve as legal acceptable cap filler in a potential Iguodala trade. Now, boy, you a bad man. So how did they do it? Hey, how did they do it, Jimmy? Hey, here are 3 basic tenets of a contract, which we will break down a little bit later, but one by one. Only $2.5 million of a contract is of the contract is guaranteed. While Marks did not give a complete number, it can be assumed that the exact figure is 2564753, the minimum salary of a veteran of Nene's experience.
$2 million.
The remaining $7.4 million of Nene's $10 million cap figure is based on incentives that the NBA deems likely. And the second year of the contract only become guaranteed on February the 15th of 2020, 9 days after the trade deadline. That boy is a bad man.
So you didn't explain what that meant. How do they get Iguodala though? So with that being said,
no.
How does Iguodala fit in there?
If they want to Nene is on the books right now to sign.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if they want to get him, they just release Nene. That cap figure gonna still be there. They can cut him and they can cut him.
Oh, so what you're saying is they're committed to paying Nene if he makes all these incentives. No, just hear me out.
He's not gonna make them. They know
he's not gonna make them. But hear me out though.
He's not gonna make them. Okay.
I got you. But they put the number out there to give him a chance to make them. But like I know, they needed the $7 million to pay Iguodala. That's what they needed $7 million for.
The number is to inflate the contract. All Nene gonna get is that guaranteed $2 million.
Well, Nene ain't not gonna be on the team though. Nene ain't gonna be gone, right?
Know, but he gonna
be gone.
He's gonna get $2 million to get the hell out.
Yeah, he gonna be gone. They're gonna give the other guy the 7 point whatever they need. They're gonna give the Iguodala.
I know, right? Michael Smith, I'm just telling you, Michael Smith said Hallie's going to be with the Lakers because he's a Laker fan.
No doubt. I didn't want to say that. He's going to be a brunsexual.
Well, I'm telling you, Rob Pelinka better put some of that kind of stuff there in his game. That's all I'm saying. Rob Pelinka better put some of that kind of stuff there in his game. Get rid of Caldwell Pope. Get rid of Caldwell Pope.
He's a clutch client. He's not going anywhere. He's a clutch client, by the way.
Hey,
there you go.
Jimmy, did you see them panties that LeBron had on the other day, Jimmy?
Come on, man.
Jimmy, did you see them panties he had on and a fanny pack? Dudes, don't.
No. Jimmy, can you put the picture that had us send us about the linebacker walking through the airport? Did we find out who it was? Did we find out who that linebacker was?
I hope if Tyrone is on this line, Tyrone, find that picture for me, man.
Oh my God! I cannot believe that dude had that on. And show the Cam Newton picture. Show the Cam Newton picture.
Hold up, we can't
show the Cam Newton picture.
Hey Jimmy, you're much better. I don't know. You went around there and clicked the button that you should have clicked long time
exactly.
ago. I text you 2 times and said, Jimmy, click the button, and he wasn't paying me no attention. Jimmy, put the pictures up. You can't do it today. I know you got no skills.
Man. Oh, that was Tyrone. We need to hire Tyrone, man.
I'm telling you.
We need to do like Don Cornelius and give him that Popeye's chicken and hire him like Don Cornelius to do his Soul Train.
Guess what? We need to call Tyrone.
Absolutely. So, guys, of course, coming up in the shortly is going to provide the pools for the Super 16 Extravaganza. That's also known as the Fall High School Championships in the Greater Houston area. But first, we got one more topic that we can that we can share with you guys. And this was from out of Minnesota. The High Court in Minnesota, that's their version of the Supreme Court in Minnesota, rules that, understand this, parents can be sued for false claims against high school coaches in the state of Minnesota. This stemmed behind a coach who was fired, and we hear it all the time. People go and they defame the coach. In this situation, a parent went out and accused or spread a rumor that the coach had been to jail. The coach had put his hands and on the little girls. He was a girls basketball coach, on the waist, and moved them around and did just a little bit of things. And none of the girls had testified during their interviews that had happened. So once again, understand, this is on the books. So when in law, we have a few lawyers that of course I'm reading Tyrone's comment, a few lawyers that watch the Chop Shop, and you guys know what that means, because if that happens in another state, they're gonna cite this case, right? And in whatever state they're working in, because this is a high court. Once again, this is big. And some things, like, remember we told you on Monday a week ago that the Fair Pay to Play Act was big. Now you get to see it strolling at the bottom of ESPN, and you see what's going on, only to realizing, hey, yeah, they were right. This stuff is big. This is big. Because remember now, it doesn't say a parent can't complain or talk smack about the coach. It's saying you can't lie. You could be sued lying on the coach.
Defamation.
Big difference.
PGW's in trouble.
Oh man. So now, of course, guys, without further ado, of course,
give me my Women Rock Wednesday. Let me give, before we go there, shout out to the starting five of the Women Rock Wednesday. These my favorite girls. We got Angie Holcomb, Madonna Johnson, Cynthia Guillory, all the way from Dallas, Texas. Glory Dodson from all the way. Ain't no telling.
Lori, your son's supposed to come have dinner with me. You better get it. Keep it going.
Yolanda Green. Hey man, them youngsters ain't got time to be messing with no old.
Man, I'm gonna get Damien. I'm gonna get Damien right, boy. You better come. He tried to get he's supposed to get a home cooked meal, Lori. Make sure you holler at him.
Hey, all I can tell you, Jimmy, I had something else for y'all. Hey, y'all remember Walt Clyde Frazier?
Yeah, Pumas.
Y'all remember him?
Yeah.
You know he's in the news, right?
You got one of them bad suits on again?
No. They're talking about fashion. He was at a Puma event, Jimmy, the other night, and they was talking about his game and Game 7 of the 1970 finals, and they was talking about, you remember, everybody remember Willis Reed coming out the tunnel? Jimmy, I know that's what you remember, right? Willis Reed coming out the tunnel, right?
Yeah, with the broke leg, yeah.
Yeah, with the broke leg. But he said they called it the Willis Reed game, and I called it some BS. But he didn't say BS. He said Willis inspired us, hit the first two shots, and set the tempo, but I had 36 points and 19 assists. How about that?
Hold on, Hannah. Hold on, Hannah. See what I got, Hannah? What I got? Let me drop it. Come on, give me a clue.
Here we go, man. Here we go. Of course, guys, I'm holding up to you. This is what we got on October the 4th through the 6th. That's going to be next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend at Jack Houston at Houston Yates High School.
Okay.
The Fall High School Championships. We call it the Super 16. And here's the pools. The pools for the Super 16 Extravaganza. Here's Pool A. You guys, show it right here. You have Dickinson, St. Pius.
Move it up a little bit. Move it up a little bit.
And Jack Yates.
Uh-oh.
Dickinson, St. Pius, and Jack Yates. Where's Walt Yates Sr.?
He's going to get his head tore off.
Tremont Marks going to get him 50.
Guess what?
50.
Tremont Marks. Tremont Marks versus Gerald Dokes.
Gerald Dokes about to get 50.
What?
50.
I'm with Tremont Marks, but I'm not against Greg Wise. Hold on, let's get this right.
I'm not against Greg Wise either.
I'm with Tremont Marks, Greg, because I know somebody going to call and tell you I'm with Yates High School, but I want you to do well. Let's get that straight, Greg Wise.
Because you got to know if you want to buy a house, because if you want to buy a house or get some real estate in Houston, you better make sure you're on Greg Wise's side. Wise Realty, do the shout out.
There you go. Now, how about Pool B? Pool B, the Woodlands Christian, North Shore, and Ridge Point. The Woodlands Christian, North Shore.
I'm North Shore. Sam Benitez, Milby High School graduate. Sam Benitez, North Shore. Come on, man.
And of course, that's Pool B. And that's going to be exciting as well. How about Pool C? Bam.
I don't know none of those. Bring it back a little bit. Bring it back. Okay. Who is that? Who is that? Who is at the legacy? Hold up. Who is at the legacy school of? Who's there?
They got my boy Lacewell out there.
Yeah, Lacewell, PJ Neal, and a few others out there. Young man Ronald McDougal. Now, understand, Shadow Creek and Summer Creek, they're both two different classifications, but both of these guys are contenders to go to state. That's a hell of a matchup between those two programs.
Who's the head coach of Summer Creek? Is that Bailey?
No, that's Ken. No, that's Ken Coleman. Used to be at Baltimore when they won the state championship.
Yeah. That's right.
How about Pool D? Pool D. We got Atascocita, Eisenhower, and Spring Branch Memorial. This is
who does Memorial have?
Memorial has about 3 kids that are currently ranked. This may be one of their best teams that they've had in the decades. Would be this season.
I was about to say.
Now, of course, Atascocita. Remember, they started 3 10th graders last year. They're back. Also, this Atascocita team. I'm talking about they're deep. Eisenhower was the defending champion of the Super 16 extravaganza. That's coming up.
All right,
Pool E.
It's gonna be. We're gonna see if it's. Hold up. It's gonna be. We got to. Hey, Jimmy, you know what they do in fantasy football, Jimmy? You got to put one of them red Q's next to it, because you know that little dude may be questionable. So we got to pull them little Q's. That means somebody may be injured. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, you got one more ignorant outburst like that. You just a hater, man.
Hey, man.
Don't, Chris.
He might be questionable.
All I'm going to say is this. These matchups in this pool were based upon the big men. Let me tell you why. Martin Ranch has Eddie Lampkin. Goffstown has the kid Josh Farmer, who played for John Urie, who was ranked in the top 5 in the juniors. And Westbury Christian has Javier Francis. Those are 3 big men that's going head to head.
Oh, Jimmy, has Eddie Lampkin made it a college decision yet?
No, but I'm expecting him. I'm expecting Eddie Lampkin to make a decision within the next 7 days. And right now, all signs point to TCU.
Brian Miller, Dwayne Broussard.
Put that thing back up there. Coach, I would be terribly remiss. Ain't no battle, no big man. You got the #1 player in the whole city on that team, Martin Ranch. LJ Crowd.
He got a questionable. He got a red Q next to his name.
Now you can put that thing down. Talking about some big men. We're going to have 1,000 on them. Keep going.
Yeah, what about that red Q? That's questionable.
Understand. Understand. When it comes to LJ Crowd in this thing.
Never stop crying.
Understand, in this pool, there's no player on Sharpstown's team, no guard that has a Division I offer. There's no Division I guard with an offer, except for maybe Chris Felix on the Westbury Christian team. I'm talking about as far as the point guard. Now that
Don't
Westfield
want
Christian.
no parts
So
of that monster.
so understand something. LJ Cry, who's ranked number 1 in the area,
Yeah.
he's supposed to whoop
But
their
then
ass.
don't be come out here talking about this the battle of the big men.
That's what it is.
I was just
Jimmy, you didn't touch 2 nerves at the beginning of the show. You said Hightower and you said Morton Ranch. It's your fault. You stepped on 2 ant beds. You stepped on 2 ant beds.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris, do
yeah.
you see the energy level? Man, I told you just keep the same.
Oh,
you see how
look at you.
You see how he's predicting now? He can do that. He can do that earlier. He can do it earlier. Watch him now. Just watch it. I told y'all pay attention. Now here go Pool F.
Pull it up.
Port Arthur Memorial, Lamar, and Nimitz.
Man, Colvin Brown back? Colvin Brown back? Who they got?
Oh man, they got Kenneth Lofton Jr.
I'm just kidding.
And by the way, Jimmy, I'm going to have the same energy because I'm going to have a suite up in Dallas on the front row. Yeah.
You got it going.
Now, since you want to go there, now, what's the next pool?
So tell me this. So understand this. And I got a question.
What's the next pool, man?
For tomorrow. I'm gonna say for tomorrow. Chris, remind me tomorrow. I got this bookmark that moment. About him sitting on the floor, and I'm gonna bring up a hell of a topic for tomorrow. Watch this. Bam. Pool G. Beaumont United, right? St. Thomas and Sam Houston. This
Beaumont United
is fire. Beaumont United is Chris. Is
that a new school? That's a new school?
No, that's the combination of Beaumont Ozan and Beaumont Central.
They just keep consolidating the God dang, man.
Yes, and the consolidation thing, like I say, we talked about that. That's one of the reasons why a lot of schools in Dallas are superior to a lot of schools in Houston.
Man, so you stepping on the ant bed again. On the ant bed again.
What do you mean stepping on the ant bed? We're talking about that tomorrow. That's the truth.
Why? Because they consolidate?
Because those Dallas people gonna get mad. The Dallas people gonna get mad when you say
Dallas
that.
Understand, I'll bring you a list tomorrow.
And they got the easiest route to state.
Chris, you're gonna ask me the question and you cut me off when I get ready to start talking. Damn, I'm trying to explain to you why. I'm gonna bring you a list of the amount of schools that are sports powerhouses in DFW that they're the only 1 or only 2 schools in that particular district. And it's going to let you, and I'm going to shed light on that and explain to you that's why. In Houston, we don't have but maybe 2 of those type of districts that's within the city limits. So that's a big reason. You think about it. Anyway, Pool H, which is the final pool, that's Concordia Lutheran, Elkins, and Houston Madison, which is another stacked pool that's going to be interesting. And understand something, guys. This is October the 4th through the 6th. And that's the Super 16 extravaganza. This thing right here, it annually gives you guys a measuring stick of what kind of punch certain teams will be packing during the season. And we
is this the particular tournament that the coaches can't coach, right?
Yes.
The coaches can't coach.
The head coaches, yeah.
The head coach can't coach. The daddy. Yeah. Okay.
But the same rule applies for for all of the teams.
No. I just want to make sure I keep mixing these things up.
And then also as a special treat, these 5 teams will play on Sunday only in what I call showcase games. These are the 5 teams that will be in the showcase games. And that is Aldine Davis, Fulshire, Houston Christian, Maid Creek, and Westfield. They each will play 2 games apiece on Sunday afternoon. They won't start playing until 2 o'clock. They will play, sit, and play in that type of format. I think one of the schools will play back to back. And the championship game on Sunday is 5 p.m. And this is at Houston Yates High School, the Fall High School Championships. I'm going to tell you guys, every city should have a Fall High School Championship. And I mean, just adds a little spice to the area going into the season. And lets these kids be able to mesh and gel. And then guess what? It's a wake-up call for a lot of kids because they think that they're better than what they are. And they're getting there and get their heads beating.
Put that last game back up, the last The showcase games. I just want to see. The showcase.
The showcase. That's the showcase.
Oh, okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I saw that right. Made Creek.
Hey,
Bob, I'll be there watching, baby.
but I mean, Favre has a team right there that's definitely a playoff team in the district, and he has a prospect that's a teetering possible Division I prospect, but he's probably gonna take the non-Division I offer for show instead of holding out hope. You can take that for show now with an agreement from the coach to let me know if I get a Division I scholarship, will you release me if it's a school within my state? And that's all you got to do. And a lot of guys out there don't understand that. And we could talk about that topic more again on tomorrow. A lot of people, once again, if you still have hope to be a Division I player, and there's nothing but non-Division schools who are seriously recruiting and possibly offering you as a 12th grader right now, simply ask that coach or request that coach. You ain't asking nothing. Request. If I commit to you, if I sign with you guys, would you release me if a Division I school was ready to sign me in the spring? And that
Jimmy, I think they muted you. Jimmy, I think they muted you. You muted for a second. I don't know what happened. You muted. Yeah. But don't worry about it. I'll close the show out. I think it muted you.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, now you're back.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, so Chris is gone. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the day. We got a lot of stuff on the docket tomorrow. Shout out to all of the ladies out there. Thanks for everybody for tuning into the Chop Shop. Thanks so much. And I've seen some of the. This is one of those shows I'm going to have to go back and watch again and reply to some of the comments. Do understand, we need you guys to share the show at least once during the show to your timelines and to your friends. Share the show. Also, go out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got some new stuff in the works that'll be coming up probably next month. That's going to be able to interact. We'll be able to interact our YouTube and Facebook timelines and boom boom rooms at the same time. This stuff is going to be big. We're working on it. Shout out to my man Tyrone out there.
Hey, Jimmy, shout out to Jeremy Clark and Broderick Harris. Those two guys subscribe to our YouTube page today. Broderick Harris and Jeremy Clark. Shout out to y'all, man. I hope y'all watch it. And when this show is over, I'm going to download it and put it up on YouTube.
And also, lastly, the schedule for the Super 16 Extravaganza will be posted on the RCS Sports app at 2:30 Central Time. And it'll also be on the RCS Sports app. Go and download that app, and you'll be able to see the entire schedule for the Super 16 Extravaganza. That's how we roll, guys. On behalf of Robert Hatter, Chris Walker,
what's up, baby?
The hat and the hater. Guess what? See you guys in 22 hours. We're up out of here. Chop, chop.
Let me click us off, Jimmy. You were so funny yesterday, Doc.